Hey artist! So today I'm going to do a painting of a bird's nest. This is it. This is a photo that I took a few years ago. The nest was actually sitting at the base of a utility pole. I had cute little eggs. I'm not sure how it came to be there, but I have decided to go ahead and paint it. Let me go ahead and zoom a little bit. So I did a color study yesterday, and I did this on Miton. It's spelled like my taint. My taint pastel paper. But it's Miton. I did it on a gray paper, and for my underpainting for the nest, I actually used a very cool dark purple and then a dark blue, and then I put the brown over that. For some reason, I was thinking cool would be the way to go. It really isn't. That's why color studies are important, even though they're boring and I hate to do them. Because I just want to get into the fun stuff. But this was really important. So I've decided to go with a warm tone paper. This is a nice kind of burnt orange. And this, again, this is the Miton from Canson. This particular pad has a bunch of different colors in it. They also have all white, all black, and grayscale. It's fun paper. I don't know if you can see, maybe on a color, that this side of the paper is textured. I'm holding a little close. Sorry about that. The other side is smoother. And it's personal preference which side of the paper you work on. I like the textured side. I like colors to show through. So anyway, I've decided to go with the burnt orange paper because that's going to show through in some spots. And then I'm also going to do a base layer of a nice warm red under here, sort of bricky. So let's see what we got. I'm going to go ahead and let you know in advance that we probably will hear my dog and my cat at some point. I can't close the door here because they will just freak out. Also, I live in a pretty busy metropolitan area, so we're gonna hear some outside noises. Can't get the paper up here. Bear with me. I guess I could have done this beforehand. Oh, shit. No, yet. Should have warned you. I'm gonna cuss. I'm a cusser. All right. That broke. So go ahead and lay in our base. That is nice and warm. You notice I'm wearing gloves. I'm not in any kind of protection program. I'm not trying to hide my identity, but some pastels, the pigments are toxic. So it's just a good idea to be safe. And sometimes, you know, it's fun to fuck around and find out. Sometimes it's not. So I've decided to not fuck around with this. It would also be a good idea to wear a mask because the powder from soft pastels gets into the air and can get into your lungs. And again, it's toxic sometimes. And also just the dust, breathing in dust is not a good idea, but some brands are smoother than others. Do this here. Bear with me. Why doesn't this one want to go? I'm gonna have to mess around with that one later. we go. It's gonna end up light anyway. Look at that, Christmas. So the base, there's a metal base that goes around the utility pole that this nest was sitting on, and that base is greens and like there is some little bit of burnt orange, which is another reason I thought that would be a good idea. So that works. There we go. And this is just my my background. So clearly I'm not an expert at pastels. I actually just learned, but it's really fun, and I love art just for art's sake. I've been a tattoo artist for the past 20 years, and I've done, I don't know how many tattoos on I don't know how many people, but I always hear people say, oh, I wish I could, you know, I wish I were an artist, I wish I could draw, I wish I could whatever. You can. You know, if I had a nickel for every time someone's like, oh, you know, I can't even draw a stick figure. First of all, you are really overestimating how many stick figures the world needs. Second, the only thing stopping you is just not picking up a pencil or a piece of pastel or a crayon or whatever, a paintbrush. Do it. Good is so subjective. Art is supposed to be joyful. We can get out our feelings, all our angst. I don't know if you can see these lines. There are a couple of scratches in this baseboard, so they're coming through. But yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be full of joy. It's supposed to be creative. It's an outlet. It's, you know, good is so subjective. It's like, it's not even a real thing. If just the act of creation makes you happy, it's good. Like, for real. So with pastels, I don't know if you all have used them before, you don't have to do all this smeary stuff. For a soft background, I like to do it, and it's very satisfying. Just go smush, smush, smush. So I don't know how well you can see. Let's closer. You see how you can still see the paper through there? That's cool. It's part of the fun of pastels. This is just one kind of paper that you can do pastels on. Another popular type is a sanded paper. And that's literally what it sounds like. It's got grit on it, and it's like sandpaper, and that holds on to a lot of pastel. You can do a lot of layers there. And that makes it super fun to work on. But if you watch a lot of YouTube videos on this stuff, it's bananas. Like, if a lot of artists don't smush it at all, and they still come out with these really cool, beautiful textures. And I'm not there yet, but I will be. I will be. And what happens is just the act of layering the colors on top of each other, it starts to smooth itself out and blend itself. So in pastels, some of the things that I've learned are you're going to work, let's see, dark to light. And you want to work background to foreground. And of course, like any type of art, anything that's further back should be softer, and anything closer to you has a sharper, more defined edge. It's a little high for what we're doing. Not quite there yet. Oh, that's nice. It's not quite right. No, is that? So I recently took a class on pastels. That's how I was introduced to it. I am normally a watercolor artist, which I love. But I found that watercolors for me are better for specific subjects and not like landscape, and I'm very interested in landscape. And so I was like, oh, pastel, I could try that. And I fell in love with it. And I thought also, like I took this picture a couple years ago, and it's so intricate that with watercolor I would want to mask and then do a layer and then mask and do a layer, and I was like, I just can't, like I don't have the patience for that. I mean, I could do it probably with some success, but I just don't want to. Like, I just don't. So, you know, I was like, oh, pastel, I could try that. And as soon as I tried it, I was like, yep, this stuff is great. It is great. Also, from tattooing for so long, everything I do is very tight. So my watercolors are not like the loose and flowy. Mine are, you can look at it and see so much detail and tell that I was probably clenching my butt cheeks so hard that I could poop diamonds. That is how I paint. So with pastel, this is loosey-goosey, and it lets me just relax, unclench, and I need that. You know, I'm a big control freak. I try not to be too obvious and overt about it, but I am. Everybody knows. So this is nice. I'm learning in life. I'm trying to learn to let some stuff go. You know, you can't control a lot. So trying in life to let go, and I feel like this is so joyful and fun and easy that it's letting me do that. This is fun too because we have everything is just kind of squiggled and overlapping and messy. I mean, it's a bird's nest. You know, this is morning hair. This is wilderness and wild animals. And now, can you imagine if birds were as uptight as me? That would be a completely different type of nest. That would be like a little brick house for birds. In fact, I wonder whoever invented like wooden birdhouses, if they did it because they're like me. They're like, nope, this will not do. This bird's nest is way too messy. Makes me uncomfortable to look at. So they're like, I'll fix that. I'm just gonna gently press. I'm not smushing, but I am gonna press. So these are not as hard. Little eggies in there. So we still have layers to go. Fucking bird's nest. Fuck yeah. All right. So yeah, I'm not an expert at this. I am new at pastels. I'm just learning. And I thought it would be fun to do this kind of video because, like I was saying, I get easily distracted and I apologize. But like I was saying, a lot of people have said to me over the years, you know, I wish I could. And it's like, well, you can. You know, nobody is born knowing how to do this. And that's just the truth. Like, those look the same. And, you know, I feel like, you know, watching a lot of videos online and such, people have been doing it a long time, make it look easy. And, you know, they're like, oh, you can do it. I can do it. You can do it. And it's like, yeah, but you've been doing it like your whole life. You've been doing it since you could fold a pencil. And I'm just starting. And so I thought, you know, it would be fun to go on a journey together. You know, I'm willing to put myself out there and, you know, invite you guys along, learn together, and be non-experts together, and we can make mistakes together, and we can figure stuff out together, and we can have a good time. And so I hope that comes through. I feel like just making art is really just a joyful, fun process, and it can be intimidating. I know that. And like a lot of things, it's more fun with a friend. So be my friend and let's figure out some art together. So as far as pastels, I'm using a couple of different brands. If you're like me at all, and I bet a lot of you are, when I take on a new thing, I want to have cool things to play with. So, you know, when I was getting ready to start this pastels class, you know, we get a list of supplies from the instructor. And of course, he very generously offered some of his own supplies to use. If you didn't have your own, you didn't want to make the investment, but people, let me tell you, I wanted to make the investment. So, but I didn't want to spend a fortune. So what I did was I went to Dick Blick. I'm lucky enough to have a Dick Blick right down the street. It's a nice art supply chain. And I actually got their in-house brand, so the Blick brand of artist quality pastels. They had two kinds. They had studio quality, which from what I was reading, and I could be wrong, and please feel free to correct me, but from what I was reading, the studio quality is kind of like a student, and then artist quality is a little better quality. So I got some artist quality, a set of, let's see, 60 of the soft pastels. And actually, let me show you. I don't know if you can see those. These are they. Oops. And pardon me. Yes, I am this clumsy in real life. The Blick, the artist pastel. I got the half sticks. So 60 of those. And I also got the Prismacolor New Pastel, and it's, I'm not just saying it funny, that's how it's spelled. Let me see if I can show you that. So sorry, I appreciate you bearing with me. And these are still soft pastels, but they're a little harder. And these are the little square ones that I've been using, and these are full sticks. But they tend to break, so I just break them as I choose them. This is a set of 96 because, again, I'm just a glutton for art supplies. So, sorry, not sorry, but so there's that, and I had some of the paper already. I'm not sure why. So I went and bought that, but definitely do what you can. I also am lucky enough to have a store right up the street from me that sells gently used art supplies. So I live in a city with a very big art school. So we have that. So I haven't gone to see what they have, but that's always an option to look if you're trying to save a little cash, see if you haven't used art supply store. And also, definitely check like Goodwill and stuff. I know that over the years I found some really cool stuff, not art supplies specifically, but I have found some really cool shit at Goodwill that I would not have expected. So check it out and just do what you can, like, seriously. Especially if you're just getting started, if you don't know that you're gonna stick with something. Da-da-da. That green in there. Show it through a little bit. Should have extended this dark green up here before I went whole hog with that brown, a giant red brown circle. All right. Then I want this darker, so I am gonna add a little dark blue. With that red under there, I feel like I I can go ahead and add some cool. It will be okay. I just want to make sure that my shadow is shadowy. And this stuff, you know, any little twigs that I'm obliterating, I can re-add. It's fine. That's fine. Just want it darker. I do feel like in my color study, I feel like that dark value, I feel like I had gotten it right. And I don't want you to get nervous, so as I say that, I think back to every project that I do. I always get nervous, but I don't want you to get nervous. So I feel like in the mediums that I've tried for painting, there's always an ugly stage. I feel like that's just the way it is, where you start off okay, and then you get going and you're like, oh, okay, I feel this, and then all of a sudden you're like, shit, what the fuck am I doing? And then you're like, oh my god, this is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. And I go through that all the time with watercolor. And the trick is to keep going. Keep going. There is an awkward teenage phase in art. That's just the way it is. It's the way it will always be. It's okay. You didn't do anything wrong. You can't do anything wrong with art. Listen to me. You cannot do anything wrong with art, okay? I mean it. You can do things that you end up being unsure about. You can do things that you end up not liking. You've not done anything wrong. You can't. That's just how it is. Art is art. The whole good and bad art thing is so subjective. Like, I wish I hadn't gone that way, but that's okay. It's whatever. It's not wrong. And as I go, you can see, so I generally work dark to light. Gotten this far and I've decided that I would like darker bits in there, knowing that pastels are so forgiving and that you can do layer over layer over layer. I just went ahead and added it. It's fine. Can't do it wrong. But good and bad is really subjective when it comes to art. If it brings you joy, it's good. If you had fun doing it, it's good. If you and a friend went to a paint night and you had too much wine and you laughed and the dogs that you painted came out looking like who knows what, like you can't even identify it, but you had a great time and you laughed, it's good. It's so good. That's what art is for. Art is for working out the hard stuff in your life. Art is about celebrating the good stuff. I'm gonna be honest, I can't tell if that's brown or purple, so I'm just gonna skip it. Art is just super cool. You know, art therapy exists for a reason. Why did I think this is a little bit purple? I can't tell. Whatever. Put some speckles. Some speckles up on this bitch. Art is about having fun, expression. It's just, God, it helps. Art can help you get through so much shit. And I think that every person who went to high school and drew one of those fucking S's, and you know what I'm talking about, on their book cover, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those S's helped us through our teenage years. All right, so cool. So let's get into some lighter colors now. Bring back some of that gold. So the sun is hitting right here. And I don't know if that is gonna look good in the painting or peculiar because you don't see the photo. You can't see that the sun is hitting it. And I guess we'll find out. I don't need this to be perfect. Perfect isn't real, that's not a thing. Some golden yellow. If anyone knows where I can get some like music that I'm allowed to play on these videos, please let me know because it's so quiet here. I mean, I hear traffic and stuff, but I like to listen to music. I like to listen to, I know that there are some of you out there who have trouble focusing just like I do. And I've actually found that music for focus actually works. It helps me a lot. I heard of it, I thought it was a lie. I was like, this is bullshit. But no, it actually works. And I am an Amazon Prime subscriber, so I listen to their music all the time. And you can make playlists on there. They have electronic for focus. They have classical for focus. They really help me a lot. So normally I would be listening to something like that. But I want to upload this video and I don't want to get into trouble. And I don't want to use music without an artist getting their money. So art is so worthwhile. And anyone who says that it's not is just stupid. So nothing would exist without art. Nothing would exist without art. You wouldn't be able to design buildings or landscapes or bridges or cars. If you think that shit's not art, you are wrong. Also, problem solvers. Problem solvers are very creative people. You know who else are creative people? Artists. I don't like this. This is getting messy. That's all right. Might have overloaded my paper over here. Now there are ways to get past that. She said as her mind went blank. So you can get past that. You can, if you feel like you have gotten as many layers on your paper as you can, because the miton is not, you can't do as many layers as you can with a sanded paper. So you can take a brush and gently brush some of the pastel off, and that will give you space to go back over and add more. Or there is a workable fixative that you can spray. Now that I've not used that, and the cautions with that are, first you need to do it outside, because it is a toxic spray. Also, it will darken. So wherever you spray it, it will permanently darken that area, but it will give you a little more tooth so you can add more color to it. So if you don't mind darkening what you've done, use it. Sometimes, like I've seen this one artist, I've watched several of her videos on YouTube, and I think it's Karen Margulis likes to use it, but she will use it and to good effect. Like she's like, yeah, it's gonna darken it up, but look, and it looks really cool. So that is definitely an option. I feel like, and I mean, this is a bird's nest, y'all. I'm not trying to go stick for stick here, but I want it to be built up and have as much as we can, you know. I really don't like how light that is in there. Like in the color study, even though I used cooler colors, I got the value nice and dark. And I think I missed out on that here. Let me take a look back here. Yeah, it's definitely not dark enough. So my nest doesn't look nestly. All right, let me take a sip of tea and look at it and see what I want to do. All right. Let's try the brush. Let's try to brush some of this away. You know, you probably can't see it, but it's all falling down there. And another caution with the soft pastels is it's so loose and it's so powdery. I don't know if you can see, this is all just falling off. I and many others are tempted to blow on it to clear it. Do not do that. That is just going to get toxic dust or potentially toxic dust into your environment. Yeah, that worked. So some people, in addition to a mask or instead of a mask, some people definitely recommend getting an air purifier and running that in the room that you're working in. I think that is a terrific idea. I don't currently have one, but I think I can see one in my future. That worked. And my God, it's just running off there. And then, I don't know, let me see how far down. All right, you can't see down here. I actually have foil, and that's layered behind this, and it comes out like a shelf, and that is to catch the dust, which is another great tip for you. And that way, instead of it going all over the place or having to try to clean it up off of your easel or your table, whatever you're using, your desk, you just fold up your foil and empty it in the trash or throw it away. This still, even with that really cool deep blue, the Mouton paper, having a nice warm paper and then doing that warm red underpainting still brings some warmth to this. All right, so back into our layers. I don't want to jinx anything, but I can't believe my animals have not been in here. They did just eat dinner, so maybe they're sleeping it off. All right. Already liking that more. Soften these. I went to the art supply store today. So when I did my color study, I wasn't really sold on the colors for the nest itself, for the little straw bits. So I was like, well, I'll go. So you can buy sets, of course, or you can buy singles of a few different brands. So I figured I would go look and see what they had. I figured I'd be able to find, you know, something that was perfect, and also I got to shop. But so I didn't find anything that was just right, but did find some stuff that was close. But all that to say, but I'm not using it. I'm still using the other colors. And I don't know if it's the lighting that I've got going on right now, and it may well be. I do need to get some better light in here. But I like the way these look in this light. All right. All right, let me step back and see, take a sip of my tea and see what's going on. Those eggs definitely look deeper. Definitely look more nestled. So let's go ahead and, where's that? Yeah. That's not contrasty enough. Well, that's not really. Like, that's real close. Something. That's better. it's better. So, listen, if you are watching just to make fun of me, first of all, whatever, I can bear that. But if you have like tips for me, if there's something that I could do better or easier, I love to learn about art. So go ahead, drop me a comment. I would love to learn more about this. I would love to learn how to be better, um, more effective, I guess, would be a more apt term. Love to be more adept at my paintings. I love to learn, I love to make. I love to teach, I love to uplift. Why do you like that? I also like to swear a lot. So now one thing that I love to do, but I can't do while I'm trying to make art is listen to books. I love to listen to audiobooks. Mysteries, thrillers, horror, all those genres. But again, if I am trying to do this and talk and actually complete something, and I just can't do it all at the same time. So, let's see. All right, this isn't unwrapped, but I have enough here to. Uh-oh, I started humming. Y'all are in trouble. Step back. It's definitely looking better. That is slightly darker than that. Different tone altogether. Nope. Definitely orange, yeah. This is all right. This is nice. So many talented artists out there, and you're one of them, by the way, as am I. Yes, that's true. No, it's not a load of horse shit. There are people who can do like really realistic, animals and people with soft pastels. That's amazing. But another thing that is amazing is whatever we do. Because it's fucking art. You know what it is. Alright, so I'm looking there. And a lot of these colors that are out of the sunlight are kind of grayed out. And I'm questioning, questioning my ground for that. Maybe it's too warm now. It's a learning process. It's fine. It's all fine. It's art. Art is never wrong. This looks really dark and boring over here. And another thing that's important to remember too is art is a representation, not a direct copy, but a representation of what we see. It is how we interpret it. And so again, there's no wrong way to do it. I mean, my gosh, back in the, I don't remember if it was the 80s or the 90s, maybe the 90s. There was that artist who made paintings with shit. Literal shit. Like, they weren't just shitty paintings, they were paintings made of shit. And some people thought he was a monster, and some people thought he was a genius. But I think we can just take a lesson from that and be like, you know what? Someone painted with literal shit. Like, everything I do is fine. There are artists that work with blood and other human liquids. What's the word I'm thinking of? You know what it is. People juice, I'm just over here fucking around with my little pastels. And I am not gonna worry about whether it's good enough, because who decides that? Like, who's the boss of your painting? You are. You're the boss of your art. There are no art police. If there were, there would be no shit paintings. That's gray. I feel like I'm just Have I overdone it? Am I on the verge of overdoing it? All right, step back. Step back. I mean, that's pretty okay. It looks like a nest of eggs, right? And that was my goal, to make it look like a nest of eggs. So in the photo, and if I remember correctly, and this was a while back, I do believe that these eggs are pale blue, which makes me think robin. Robin's eggs. I mean, I can't remember what time of year it was. I live in the South. It's kind of the same all year round. They probably were robin's eggs. And again, I'm not sure how the nest got there. Like it was just this power line pole, and I feel like this probably wasn't at the top of the power line pole, so somebody must have carried it away from the trees. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened to it. I would see it when I would walk my dog in the morning, and then I wouldn't see it anymore. So I don't know. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, it's sunny. I like to think that the little birdies were okay. Just want to bring some light down here. Back, have a look. Yeah, I like it. I think that's it. I think we're done. So I hope that was helpful to you in any kind of way. If it wasn't helpful, I hope that you got a giggle out of it. Let me take off my gloves. Make a mess. Put this up here for you to see. There we go. Pretty good. Next time will be better, but it'll always be fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Now go make some fucking art.